Liverpool 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0 in the FA Cup, courtesy of a screamer from young Harvey Elliott early on in the game. If we're being honest, though, it was an absolute shower of absolute shit after that point from both teams, really. Liverpool offered very little. Wolves couldn't pass water tonight. It was a hard watch. The last 15 minutes was pretty good. Liverpool made to defend harder, and Wolves tried to win the game. I don't understand why they left it too late. This isn't vintage Liverpool. This isn't even a good Liverpool at the moment. And Wolves kind of sat back until about 75 minutes until they really pushed on. Maybe if they'd have gone at 50 minutes, 45 minutes, 35 minutes and really pushed, they would have come out a little bit better. But Liverpool keep themselves in the competition, and that's what's important for them, because there is still the possibility this Liverpool team comes good this year. And in the FA Cup, you never know. I know they've got to go away to Brighton, who just seriously hurt them at the weekend. But there's always a chance, there's always a possibility that you can bounce back from a slump. And if you're in the competitions, who knows? But if we're being honest, Harvey Elliott got the man of the match from... Listen, I wouldn't... The BBC giving the man of the match to Elliott is wrong. It should have been to whoever pranked them. That was the most entertaining moment of tonight, was the prank on the BBC. That's it. Harvey Elliott's goal was good. Congratulate him for that. Liverpool fans can tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm being salty, but I don't think Liverpool fans will be happy with that performance in any way, shape, or form. Offered very little. Weren't dangerous against a very poor Wolves team. And yeah, I think a lot of Liverpool fans will feel a little bit hollow, maybe. Like, we're glad we're through. Great Harvey Elliott goal. But where's the performance? Where's the performance response after what Brighton did? If you perform like that against competent teams, if you perform like that against teams that can put the ball in the back of the net, you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat. And Liverpool fans have to have the highest of standards. They have to. And you can be happy to qualify and disappointed in a performance at the same time. How do I know? I've been there for a decade, so I know exactly how it feels. Wolves, on the other hand, listen, Wolves annoy me. Wolves annoy me. We have a phrase that we use in my family. I'm sure your family's used it as well. All the gear, but no idea. They've got a lot of good, technically gifted footballers. They can't score. These men, honestly, if they fell into a barrel full of boobies, they would come out sucking on their thumbs. They're awful. And the fact that they've got, listen, Jimenez before the head injury was pretty good. But they've brought that, is it Cunha? Man is a donkey, bruv. He's a donkey. They've got Diego Costa, who they look like they've taken out of the film Cocoon. Google it. And they expect to score goals. The maddest thing is, the maddest part of all of this is they actually scored 3 at Anfield. No wonder they were deflated. They knew it wasn't happening again. It's like a London bus. Wolves are absolutely, legitimately, Wolves are horrendous. They're horrendous. And I'm not trying to take away from Liverpool. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but Wolves are so bad. And I think that's why a lot of Liverpool fans should have expected a much better performance. The good news is for Liverpool, they play Chelsea next, who are equally as bad. So I've got no idea who wins that on Saturday. I strongly believe that Wolves got robbed. Look, we know Wolves were robbed in the first game. We all know this. Liverpool fans have held their hands up and said, I can't believe we got away with it. However, come back in the next game and fight. You're actually at home. They didn't try. Imagine going up against this Liverpool team, by the way, who rotated players out. No Trent in the team. No Mo Salah from the start. No Fabinho. They weakened their team, in my opinion, especially when Naby. By the way, did you see Naby Keita's dive? I laughed. It actually made me die. And I loved how he rolled onto the pitch as well to waste time. You've got to give man credit for that. You've got to give him credit for that. Liverpool fans as well holding on to the ball. I was like, I love a bit of shithousery. But Liverpool even weakened their team, and this Wolves side came out and they tried nothing. They tried nothing. Terrace was amazing. Elliott, class. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm being... Listen, Hussam and Zayn, Ram and Tom are going to come out in a minute and have a little chat with us. Maybe they're going to tell me different. I didn't think it was that good from anybody, barring the goal. I thought it was a lethargic, boring watch. It's the FA Cup. It's a knockout game. Where's the fire? Nabil here says, how many times you come out with thumb? How many times you came out with thumb? Oh, how many times have I come out sucking on a thumb? Brother, this man has great skills. Always consensual, of course, but great skills coming out sucking my thumb, bro. Don't judge me at nearly 40 years of age. You should have seen me in my prime. I was all right, you know. I was all right. The toxic Terrace chat is back again. There's no toxic chat. It's just do you know what I love about people that watch the Terrace? We were the original community that had rivals talking about rivals. So of course you get a little bit of tomfoolery and a little bit of banter in the comment section. It's not toxic. It's called being a football fan. I don't know where you grew up, but where I went to school, I had teachers teasing me when I turned up if we got beat at the weekend. It's the way it is. If you can't take it, go and have a word with your parents and say, why have you made me so soft, mummy? Why did you do that? You know what I mean? I bet you still get breastfed, bro. I bet you still get breastfed. 100%. You're still getting a bit of bitty before bed. 100%. And a story. And a story. Unlucky Neves free kick at the last minute. Clever. Don't know if I'd resist shooting from there. Listen, Neves has got to get out of that club. Otherwise, he's going to end up like Ndidi, going backwards. He needs to challenge him. If he stays any longer, he's going to go stale. He's going to go stale. He really is. He's got to get out because he's the only baller they got left. And Traore. I have to bring the boys out. Did you? I don't know. It was about 83 minutes. Did you see that cross? Ah! You know, sometimes the camera angle is deceiving. You think, oh, is it going in? Who's it gonna go to? I thought, oh, and then the thing, I've never seen an overhit cross that in my life. Because he only had to dink it. He had 4 men in the box. And it nearly went for a corner for Liverpool. He hit it so hard. And just to think, City were prepared to spend £70 million on him 3 years ago. Just to think, eye test merchants were telling me he was better than Marcus Rashford. Honestly. Nabil here says, nah, these kids are powder babies, softies. Yeah, listen, it's a lot of people. A lot of people can't take a joke. There's a big YouTuber that don't like me because I got accused of something today, by the way. Terry Flewers of the Football Terrace got accused of stealing other people's ideas when it comes to when I clip people up and I change their voices and high pitch it and do whatever else. Someone's like, why have you only just started doing that? I'm like, bruv, I've been mocking people's voices and changing the tone on edits since about 2015. Since before some of you guys even were on YouTube. But there's a big YouTuber about 6 years ago fell out with me because he read a comment on YouTube and he read something like it was like Wayne King or Bend Over and like mocked his voice up and he took it. He was really offended by it. He said it really hurt him. So I just blocked him. He's really big now. He's really famous now, and I still won't unblock him because I'm like I can't involve myself around boys like that. It's a worry because they're the kind of people that grass you up and stuff like that. They're like those people are grasses. They're not to be trusted, bruv. And if you're that kid in class that always goes, sir, never be friends with those people because they are proper grasses. And there's only 3 types of people on earth that are worse than grasses. I can tell you that now. My hairline is still crap. Bruv, the hairline's good. Look at that. The hairline is good, bruv. Look at that. Because how bald I was. I can take the joke. I can take it, bruv. I can take it. Just like your but I don't know, bruv. I can take it. Come back and do better. Do better than that if you're going to try and shake the king, brother. There we go. No, it wasn't Mark Goldbridge. It wasn't Mark. In fairness, Mark Goldbridge can kind of take it. That guy gets a lot of abuse. He can take it, to be fair. But there we go. Right, I'm bringing the boys out now to have a chat about this game. I don't know what they're going to say, though. But let's do it. Welcome back, gentlemen. Congratulations, first of all, for going through. That's what I do need to say. Talk to me about the performance.
Dog shit, bro. Dog shit.
It feels good to win, though. It's been a while since we won.
It's the away game, so we won the away game. Makes a change, isn't it?
Now we
Kept the
actually have
clean
less
sheet.
release than away wins, which is positive, you know. So
But
Way.
Bachatek, he's got quality.
He's
I
a
like what I
baller.
see in him, bro. He's a player in there. Honestly, give him a year with Thiago. He's gonna be. So I'm excited for how he develops because he's looking all right, man. That's the only
I
plus.
can't lie. This performance today, I don't think it was like amazing or anything. First of all, big up to you guys. Big up to the Terrace. I wasn't on here after Brighton because
Yeah, you were
KJ
hiding, bro.
Butler-
Where were you?
No, I don't hide. I cannot hide if I'm a content creator, unfortunately. I wish I can hide, but I can't. KJ bottled that he only told me 5 minutes before. But anyway, when it comes to this game, listen, man, it's a win. It's a clean sheet. I cannot believe I just said it's a clean sheet. Like we actually kept a clean sheet. I do not remember the last time I saw 0, like, you know, goals conceded. It's just, I actually do not remember the last time it happened.
I wouldn't say
I
the clean
think
sheet was hard.
From Liverpool's perspective, the performance was okay, but okay for us is amazing right now. It's just the truth. Like this is like, ooh, like amazing performance. The 2 players for me that come out with loads of credit is Harvey for that goal that came out of nowhere. I honestly didn't even know how to react to it. And the second guy is Bajcetic, what Zayn said. This Bajcetic guy, man, like honestly, I'm saying this right now. If he ain't injured, start him against Chelsea. Fuck it. There is no need to wait. There's no need for none of this shit. Just fucking start him, man. He's better than Henderson and all the other idiots we have besides Fabinho and Thiago. So just start him. Just start him. I'm all for Team Batch.
Yeah, Harvey Elliott though. Can we just touch on this Harvey Elliott thing, man? Don't get excited or. You know, that keeper was dog shit. What was he doing? Where was he standing? He was like, go on, lob me, bruv. Go on. He asked for it, bruv.
It was a good goal. It was a good goal, but if the goalie's standing on his line, he catches it.
Exactly, bro. That's what I'm trying to say.
But that's what was mad about this game.
Yeah.
There was that moment, and I just don't remember watching an FA Cup replay where there was just nothing from either team for 90 minutes, barring one shot. It was crazy how bad it was. And I wanted to ask you all, Gakpo, 3 games in, what'd you make of him, Tom?
Fine. He's not playing this. He's played in this position once. I mean, I'd like it if he stopped being so desperate for a goal and trying to smack it from 40 yards. But considering he was about the only focal point we had today, because my manager insists on playing the best young 10 from the Championship last year on the wing. Yeah, I thought he was all right, but he shouldn't be on the wing. So Cody Gakpo was just him up front. I want to see him with Salah, and I want to see him with Nunez for a prolonged period, rather than him being shoved up front because we've got no one else. That's when I'll judge him. But for now, before the final third, sound really nice on the ball, good link up, this, that, and the other. Getting into the final third, he gets a bit too excited and starts smacking it over the bar or not connecting well. But he was probably one of the better players in the final third, considering what Wolves put up today. That Adama Traore cross. I think the best part about it is the fact that the first time he's missed the ball, so fell over, and it's nearly went out for a goal kick. He's got up, used his pace, and then boosted it all the way back to the halfway line as his cross. We got a clean sheet today, but it is none of our doing. It's completely Wolves' fault for not being able to put the round thing in the back of the net by any means. That they could have played that for a whole another 90 minutes, 180 minutes.
No.
They would not have scored.
Yeah.
They would have found every possible way to miss.
Yeah, look, go on, Ram.
That wasn't the funny bit, you know. It was that I think it was Nori was running down the wing and then cuts it back, and then he ends up skying up into Rose Z. That one made me laugh.
Do you guys?
Ram, are you wearing your Arsenal shirt?
It doesn't look like
this is 2001.
It is Liverpool, but it looks they're very
treble.
similar.
I'm not wrong.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Hassan wasn't a Liverpool fan back in 2001. That's why he didn't recognize it.
In 2001, I was 6 years old. So yes, I was not.
What? You can watch football at 6, can't you?
95 years old. 1995.
Do you know what? I keep seeing this comment I've got to point it out. It's making me laugh. People keep saying that Hassan looks like a young Rolf Harris.
Yes, I've
Violation.
I've heard that before. You know. And listen, hey, if that's what I've never heard of him before though, but I did see his picture. You know. And you know, I'm proud of Tom Little as well. He's back from the game already. Big up Tom, man.
I don't look like Ben Doak. I don't look like Bendo.
You do look a little bit
Yeah,
like that.
you got acne, bruv.
Little bit.
Just make a fringe, and then you might look a little bit like him, man.
Mate, that's crazy. But yeah, look, listen. I mean, how do you guys feel in terms of? I didn't speak to any. I spoke to Tom and I spoke to Zane at the weekend, but obviously it was a terrible performance against Brighton. Mons, from your point of view, how are you feeling ahead of the Chelsea game? Because they're not in great form, but just made some signings. You also need a win. You're 10 points away from a Champions League place. What are you thinking?
Sakiko, whatever you want to call it, mid-off. Who shit stinks more? That's all it is. This is a mid-off. We're both poor, but they're poor with money. At least they're trying to make moves. We're sitting here doing this. And I think tactically, we are all over the place. I think there is a way to rectify things, probably go to the 4-4-2 as we did earlier in the season. But right now, Klopp does look like he's running out of ideas. I think today, I'm going to keep today is a separate sort of performance. Like, I think Wolves were just horrible. They were horrific today. They were really, really bad. Yeah, some good individual performances today, but just going into that Chelsea game, I think the boys did need a win. But guess what? Today's win made sure we have to go back to the Amex. We have to go back to the Amex now. You know? Let alone playing Chelsea. Obviously, Nunez is going to be back for the game. Obviously, Gakpo is looking like a watered-down Theo Walker at the moment. But it's been 3 games in, so I'm not going to...
Hey, Walcott is fast, Mons.
Yo, can I say something about Nunez, right? Every man has been cussing off Nunez recently, like, he's dog shit, right? But have you noticed the difference? We ain't getting no chances when Nunez is not playing. We're not looking at least when he was playing, we look threatening. Yeah, you could say, you know, is it a captain or chaos, whatever. But at least we look like we're making chances. Since he's not been playing, I don't know how we're going to get a goal, bro, because everyone looks dead.
We weren't getting goals when he was playing.
No, we're looking chances. We hope we're going to get some goals maybe out of it. But now I can't even see if obviously apart from this goal today.
I'd rather just be crap and not creating than have the illusion of creating stuff and then just not scoring.
No, is the bar in hell? Is the bar in hell or something? I'm hearing at least we're creating chances. We're Liverpool Football Club, but we're talking about at least we were creating chances when Nunez was playing. Nunez is not good enough for Liverpool.
Nunez was missing them chances as well. It's not like he was taking them away.
One thing about the book.
Come on, man. 15 big chances missed already. Like, come on, we have to be real
right now. Nunez will be good enough for Liverpool eventually, but is he good enough for Liverpool right now? No, he's not.
But we're going through a transition, bro. You know, we're
talking about the 9th place Liverpool. He's not good enough for the 9th place because he might be good enough for this Liverpool, this shit Liverpool. But Liverpool challenging Liverpool, the Liverpool we've seen for the last 4 years, he's not going to take us to the next level. He's not the guy to take us to the next level.
We are going through a transition, right? We're refreshing the front line. We need to refresh the midfield. The defense is halfway through the refresh as well. So let's wait till next season. Hopefully, you get a new owner, Qatari, coming in. Do you know what I mean? And then spend 300 mil, bro. And then you lot are going to switch 180 and go, oh, yeah, Nunez, he's sick, blah, blah, blah. Let's keep it real. That's what's going to happen, right? Give the brother a chance, like with Gakpo. He's come from the Dutch league. What's that, 6th or 7th best league in Europe? So him jumping into the Prem, there's levels and speed to that. So it's going to take him time to adapt. He's got to get into the flow. And obviously, he's not playing his position. But I think everyone's so down on Liverpool. I just think, you know, as a fan, you can't expect to win every season, everything, right? That's not possible, right? So why don't we just enjoy what we can do this season because we're in transition, and then let's see what happens next season. Because next season I don't want to win
anything this season. I just want to.
But we haven't won everything every season either.
I don't want to be 9th. I don't want to be sitting there
going. You haven't even averaged
one. We've won it all, but we've won it all across 5 seasons or 4 seasons in which we were competitive. We haven't won it all like in 1 year in which we went on to destroy everything. At the end of the day, listen, Zayn, I hear where you're coming from, but in 6, I don't like to say 6-7 years since Klopp's here, because I don't think we were able to compete throughout all these years. I think in the 4 years in which we were able to compete, 1 Premier League, 1 Champions League, not good enough. Like at least if it was 2 Prems, 1 Champs, 2 Champs, even 1 Prem, it would be like a much better state that we're in. Like everyone at least would be a lot more calmer with the situation. Be like, okay, guys, we gave it our all last year. Like even last year, if had we won the Prem or the Champs alongside the other 2 trophies, everyone would be like, okay, listen, we just fell off a little bit, but at least listen, we won the Premier League last season, we won the Champions League last season. The problem is we left last season with the 2 like smallest trophies out of the 4. And this happened later on. So we expected us as Liverpool to come back again. Now, when it comes to Gakpo, you're all falling for Terry's tricks here because we stole his girl from Manchester United, and he's trying to get us to argue about Cody Gakpo. So let me give Terry Flewers the political answer. Cody Gakpo's only played 3 games. He's played in his position once. What can we expect of him? We can't expect anything of him. So we have to be patient and we have to wait when it comes to Cody. And he only costs 37 million. He doesn't cost 65. So we can't even say anything.
I'm asking the question because I want to get your opinion. I agree with what you've said. I think that he's played 3 games. When you say he's only played in his position once, my only challenge to that is I don't think anybody knows what his real position is because he was wanted by some clubs in Europe as a number 9. He's wanted by some to play on the left. Some people say that he plays in the 10. I've seen him play a lot of if he's a left-sided attacker, like he ain't gonna get much game time when Jota and Diaz.
When Diaz is back, he ain't gonna get in the
team.
team.
So I think you're gonna move him maybe more centrally and play him alongside Diaz, but alongside Nunez. But let's see what happens.
Instead of Nunez.
I think the Nunez thing's an interesting one. I still think you've got to give him a little bit of time. And I think new owners is a great point that can boost you. Look what's going on at Newcastle. I still think it's the manager in the sense of I think Jurgen Klopp is one of the greatest managers of this sort of period. The last 10 years, he's one of the greatest in that time. You know, he's won a Champions League, done back-to-back Bundesliga, Premier Leagues. And this is just looking at football history. 7+ years is long-term at any club during pretty much any era at the top level of the game. And the downside to a Jurgen Klopp system, managerial style, is the intensity that you play with. You haven't refreshed your squad, in my opinion, as regularly as Man City. Most of you have agreed with that. Mm-hmm. Therefore, tiredness, both mentally and physically, kicks in. Now, maybe more money comes in because you get good. Listen, you guys have heard my videos, seen my videos. I think your ownership takeover is going to be every bit as good as Manchester United's. I think the rest of the country should be fearful of our clubs having owners like City and Newcastle. Whether I don't really care whether we get Amazon, Radcliffe, or the Middle East. It doesn't matter to us. We're so big. Take our debt away and dividends coming out. We've got more money than any club in the world. It's just as simple and straightforward as that. You guys having more money is dangerous. There is still a question whether or not there is the appetite for this group of players or even Klopp to go again at the same club. And that's not because Klopp isn't good enough. It's just a long time to be at a club. And I still think there's some questions there whether a change would be as good as the rest. And I don't think it's about sacking him like a flopped manager because he's not a flop. He's a Liverpool legend. He's probably, the 3rd greatest manager in your history. I don't think you guys would put him above Shankly or Paisley if like looking at multiple generations. But he's in your top 3 managers of all time, most likely. He's not going to be sacked. But I do think they have to look at him, his system, and can he get this team going? And do the new owners want to invest £500 million in him? So I think that's another question for the new owners coming in is what to do with Jurgen Klopp as well.
Yeah, Terry, just on that then, look at Alex Ferguson. So you're telling me Alex Ferguson didn't have some shit years in his 20+ years where the team weren't doing it?
To Alex Ferguson in the Premier League, so it took him 4, 5, 6 years to build this team. And it's different back then. The situation was very, very... He had to get alcohol. We had a team full of drunks he had to get out and all this sort of stuff. But in the Premier League era, he never finished below 3rd. And only on one season wasn't in a title race, and that was Jose's first year. He was too far behind. And I don't know the exact maths on this, but in the Premier League era, I think we only maybe went 2 seasons without winning a trophy. The fact is, Fergie never had a year like you being in 9th. He's never done that. So it's very different, my friend.
See where we finished, but all I'd say is everyone keeps talking about Klopp. Oh, he needs to rebuild another team. He's never done it, right? So let's give him the chance now, right? So he's going to get some money coming in, hopefully, when we get bought. Let's see this rebuild, because that's one thing everyone says about Klopp. Oh, yeah, he's all good. He can get a team going, but can he do a rebuild? So
you got money this summer, and you didn't buy a midfield, and you bought Nunez.
And then he bought Gakpo. So...
What
I would say though is there's a difference as well, and
Klopp is not innocent in all this. Klopp
He's
is
not.
not innocent.
He isn't innocent.
This
in
is
this.
the thing. See, Zayn, the problem is I have with your side of the argument is Klopp. Look, we all know the major criminal is FSG. We agree. But when it comes to Klopp, he's not innocent. He's also being taken to court, and he will also have a crime. Will it be as strong as the crime that FSG have committed? No. We agree on that. But Klopp himself, we cannot say he's innocent, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, we've had money multiple times to spend to buy a midfielder. Now he's come out for the first time ever since he stepped foot in this club in the embargoed part of the press conference, and he said, in this summer we will have an overhaul. Some players won't be here. I'm going to be here. Like he actually, for the first time ever, showed me a ruthless side of him. Now I think many people would agree with me if Jurgen Klopp just left the transfer decisions in the hands of like the transfer committee and people who do their due diligence, and he worked with the players on the pitch. I'm not saying don't have his input, but him, essentially, we saw articles come out saying he's growing in power, which he's making the transfer decisions, which Pep Linders, we've seen him getting involved in transfer decisions. 3 of the last 4 signings were all Pep Linders recommendations. I'm saying let's go back to what worked. We signed Andy Robertson because it works. We signed Mane, Salah, all these players. We signed them because it worked. Not because Klopp said, I want Mane, I want Salah. Salah was a plan B. It's the fact. Like Klopp wasn't just watching Andy Robertson going like, I want to sign him. He was probably, someone from the transfer committee came out and he gave him information. He was scouted. People knew about him. And then, okay, let's go get Andy Robertson. So for me personally, I think with Jurgen Klopp, he is a culprit of this as well. Is he the biggest culprit? No, but he is a culprit of where we're at right now, and we must recognize that. So I'm not, because he's Jurgen Klopp and because he's given us the success that we have gotten for like maybe the first time in our lives in the modern era. Of course, we're going to give him chances and shit, but that does not mean that this season goes like, it means nothing. Like, we're still Liverpool. We're still being represented on the pitch. They're still wearing the crest, the badge on the pitch. So they have to play to that level. Meaning, when we go to Real Madrid, if we put up a fight and we go out, fair enough. But if we lose like 6-7-0 on aggregate, that's not acceptable. If we end up finishing 9th, that's not acceptable. Don't win a trophy as well, that's another thing. So all these situations just doesn't matter. Like, he's involved in all this, and he has to hold accountability and responsibility and blame. I'm not just going to every day FSG. We get it. FSG are at fault. But Klopp plays a role in all this as well.
No, I hear that, but obviously, come on, we're not going to get rid of Klopp because you're not going to. Who can you replace him is going to be levels below, right?
But that's
I never said get rid of him.
That's the nonsense argument. There's levels below. At some point, he leaves anyway. Klopp isn't going to be here forever, and you have to plan for that. I would say this about the situation as well. We're in a new era of football, and when I say a new era, I'm talking about. And I want to make sure I kind of say this in the right way. The way I'm just looking. I'm doing this because I want to be kind of fair, right? The average bench for Man United in 2008, and I use 2008 as a benchmark because we won the Premier League and Champions League double that year. Our bench had a goalkeeper in Cusack. We had John O'Shea, Darren Fletcher, Silvestre, Anderson. They were our main bench players. How good on a scale of 1 to 10 would you rate those players?
6, maybe.
6, yeah. And the reason I'm saying this, because of the money in football now, and that's not just because of billionaire owners, it's TV money is 400 to 500% higher. You look at Man City's bench. On average, how highly do you rate their players? Like it's better, right? Benches and squads are deeper and thicker now than they have ever been before. Liverpool, and there's a reason for this, the point to this. The reason Liverpool keeping up with City in this period is astronomically good. And what teams are delivering points totals beyond that of teams from a decade ago, beyond that of teams of 2 decades ago. And in my opinion, that's because the benches are stronger and the squads are bigger, academies are thicker, and you're able to play a higher intensity game week in, week out. It's different. The problem that you've got, if maybe your squad isn't as thick as City, which I think you'd agree it isn't, and it hasn't been refreshed as much, is what does that take out of you? Both the manager and those players maintaining that. One of the reasons I think Fergie in the Premier League era was so successful is that the teams never went out every year like, right, we're going to try and get 100 points. It doesn't matter if we get 65 points as long as we win the league. It was never about, and some of the years we were 10 points clear, but there was never a chase at Man United back then or Arsenal in that era. Go, right, let's try and break the 100-point barrier. Those things in the long term, I think hurt you. And fighters go through this. Some fighters in the UFC speak about how if they're in a difficult position in a fight and can't win, they'll tap out. There's no point getting your arm snapped in, or getting choked out, or doing an extra round and like getting completely poleaxed and knocked out, and then you can't even fight for 6 months, or that damage. Listen, some knockouts can be so they can last forever. You never get rid of that feeling, right? There are times when you've got to just say, I'm going to take my foot off the gas and come again. And I just think that element needs to be, and this isn't for fans to judge. This is for the internal workings at the club to assess whether that can be repaired by Klopp, or whether you need a new person to come in and say, with some new ideas that can rejuvenate things organically. And I do think that's a question that Liverpool needs to pose, really.
I think it's more just a structure thing. We because we tried to compete with City and we bought into the underdog idea so heavily and didn't want to switch from that, we then sort of took so many gambles that we never evolved from. We always were gambling on the fitness of, when we won the league, we were gambling on Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andy Robertson, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, all of them being fit every game. And when they weren't, you saw the drop in quality. And then beyond that point, we gamble when it comes to this point of the tenure on when the drop-off is going to come, when the physical fall-off is going to come, and then we try and time it so we're not really, doing too much overhaul in the same. And we got it wrong. We gambled and we lost, and it happened earlier than they expected. But then they weren't reactive. They just decided, no, we'll run it out. We'll run it out one more year, and then we'll fix it next year when it becomes an even bigger problem. And you can see the panic now. But why not just get buying Matheus Nunez in the summer? What was the point in letting him go to Wolves for 12 months just to end up having to pay more and have a worse season because of it?
But that's also having a different sporting director. We did something similar when we could have bought. He didn't even work out for us, but we bought Marouane Fellaini at the end of the window for like 27 million. But we could have got him a week earlier for like 15 million, and we let the deadline. Like it's crazy. There was a comment that came through there a minute ago that said like Sir Alex Ferguson played a different style, but that's also an era thing that isn't labelled at Klopp solely. If, for instance, if Man City would have told Pep, you can't have Edison, you've got to stick with Bravo, we just bought him. If they didn't let him rejuvenate those wingers 2 or 3 times like he did, if they said, listen, if you had to stick with these flop signings for an extra year or two, Fabian Delph was still playing at left back for him. If James Milner was still in his team at 37, they wouldn't have done what they achieved either. So I think in this modern day era, and I was saying this to Arsenal fans earlier, get out of your brain that my club's going to do it without spending stupid money. Once you're near the top and you built 2 or 3 years to get there, to stay there, you have to spend. Otherwise, you fall off and have to rebuild again. You can't do it without spending money. You can't do it without... And do you know what's really crazy? A Liverpool friend of mine, he doesn't do socials, he won't come on camera, said his theory of FFG not spending is because of the wage structure. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said to me, well, all our players get huge bonuses when we win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, right? So let's just say you drop an extra 200 million on transfers over 2 years, but then you win multiple Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. The wage bill quadruples every year. So not only are you spending more on transfers, your wage bill goes through the roof. Therefore, FSG, they hold back the spending. And it's almost, listen, as long as we qualify for the Champions League, we're happy. And I thought that's a pretty sound theory. That's a logical way to think about another reason not to spend, because the more you win, the more money they have to pay out.
Everyone knows about
their biggest problem is they have no ambition.
It's a cycle.
That's
the more you win, the more money you spend, but the more money you earn from sponsorships and match winnings and competition,
getting to a Champions League final, etc.
No, we end up paying more because we earn more. I think that's what they went for with that structure. And our transfer spending, every single year, every single May, March, whenever it is, I hear record revenues for the club, record kit deal, record this, record that. We've got about 17 financial records, and I've got nothing to show for it apart from a new standards. Now we don't know what's going on with that. That's all I've got to show for it.
You know, to what Terry just said, the problem is with FSG for me, the biggest problem, and this is the thing now, when it comes to this game, and I'll say this just before I hop out. When it comes to FSG, their biggest problem is lack of ambition. For me, it's not even just money. They're just not ambitious enough. Like if they were ambitious enough, look, I always give this example because it's crystal clear. If any of us here owned a restaurant without knowing anything about food, and 10 years later you still don't know the difference between a T-bone and a ribeye steak, you're the problem. Because you need to have at least a basic understanding of food. The problem is FSG don't have a basic understanding of football, still don't get involved in football decisions. They get involved with off-the-pitch stuff, which they've done well in, which is why we're an attractive club to buy. I accept that. I'm saying FSG. Tom Little just said it in his mini rant right there. All of these financial records, yes, they're going to help us. For example, if we get bought now by someone, they're going to come in and go like, okay, the infrastructure is there. There's a new training ground. Anfield's been developed. I don't have to come in and start from scratch and tear the whole house down. I just have to come in, buy a few players, and boom, we're ready to go. We can win again. Now, their problem is, for me, their lack of ambition, meaning they don't, get involved in the football aspect of things. If they did, learn the sport and get involved, like sort of like Todd Bowley, maybe a hands-on approach, or, someone who's at least they understand what's going on. They probably don't even know we're ninth. They don't know that we lost 3-0 to Brighton. And this ownership thing, I don't know if the guys agree or not, but for me, over the last 48 hours with this Qatari stuff coming out and everyone just being so like embroiled in it and so involved in it, and for me specifically, I've been ultra involved in it because I've been translating all this shit from Arabic to English as well. It's just like, this is probably the least I've given a fuck about a game of football for a long time. Like this today had a feeling of, and I'm gonna take your minds back to when we played Leeds after the whole European Super League thing happened, and it just had a feeling of emptiness when Mane scored that day. Today, I feel like, I'm just talking more. I'm looking more off the pitch than I am on the pitch, because off the pitch, when shit changes and we actually do what we're supposed to do off the pitch, I think we'll get the success on it. And at the end of the day, what we do know about Arab owners is they are ambitious. They do have a hands-on approach. They do get involved. They're not sat back going like, okay, guys, here's the money and you guys do what you want. They will form a structure. They will have everything organized, and they'll take us back to the top again. So for me personally, I think the ownership element of things is probably why maybe everyone here, including myself, is a bit like, I don't like, okay, we won this, but there's a bigger like sort of elephant in the room that we need to address first. But yeah, I'm a hop off now.
I appreciate that, mate. Thank you. And I think he's right. Listen, it's going to be very interesting when you get new owners. Just very briefly before the end, score predictions for Chelsea versus Liverpool, because I probably won't speak to the majority of you before that game. What are you saying, Tom?
It'll either be the deadest 0-0 where everyone just decides to miss every chance, or that saying, you wait ages for a bus and then 3 come at once. That's what it'll be like. Nunez will suddenly find a score and touch. Kai Havertz will suddenly turn to a finish, and it'll finish like 3-3 or something. But there's no in between. There's not like 1-0, 2-0 win. It's either going to be crap or mad.
What are you saying, Ram?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be crap. No, I don't think it's going to be mad. I think it's going to be 0-0. I think it'll just be one of those dead games. Both teams aren't playing well, and yeah, I think it's going to be 0-0 in my opinion.
Yeah, Monts?
I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea.
Wow. Zane?
2-1 Liverpool. Nunez bangs the winner. Come on, we're going to do it, bro.
Top 4 race back on. We'll see. Well, we'll see what happens with Spurs this week, because that's the craziest thing. It's yeah. I mean, you guys could, by the time that game kicks off, if Man United win, I think when you play, I know you play early. Man United could beat Palace. So you could be 13 points behind Man United, but 10 points behind Newcastle. Newcastle play Palace at 5:30. Like, yeah, you need to win that, because whoever loses, if Newcastle then win and United win, you're talking 13 points away from the top 4.
Terry, you're talking figures. It's killing me, bro.
It's numbers. It's crazy. It's so much win. Because even though
Conference League away days, I'll do Conference League away days. I'll tell you know what? I will shamelessly, if we end up in Conference League, I will shamelessly hope that we win that, because then I could just run with the most shameless propaganda that we're the only club to win
all the belts.
Yeah. Greatest European heritage. We're the only club to win everything.
Love it. Gents, I appreciate you all coming on. Viewers, thank you very, very much indeed. Back tomorrow with more content for you. And obviously rounding off the day tomorrow with Crystal Palace versus United. Can United maintain themselves in this title race? Another big test for them tomorrow night. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Thank you.